see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining in.
Well, good morning and welcome to episode 882 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything's always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and it's April 6th, 2026. This morning I'm enjoying a fresh cup of FTO Blonde Espresso from foodforestfarms.com because life's too short for shitty coffee. At Food Forest Farms, your beans are roasted by real human hands using a clean stream air roaster. More than just a customer, your family. Get 10% off with code LOTS10. That's LOTS10, and shipping is always free. While you're there, check out the C4 Club for even more awesome perks. New website over there. You should check that out for sure. Order up some coffee and you won't regret it. Today on the show, we got cabin delays with a metal mix-up, a rare win for customer service lately, and another push to get us to the moon. But why? Grab your coffee, smash that like button, and let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Hope you had a nice Easter. Scramblin' says, first, happy Easter. Love you guys. The house is looking awesome. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. It's getting there. it's getting there slowly but surely, and hopefully another big step coming today. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Mike's Homestead, good morning. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you always showing up. Need some coffee for sure. Before we do the Bitcoin guessing game, talk about last night a little bit. Corey and I had a normal Sunday, just to bed early to start the week, got to get rested up. I was passed out hard, and all of a sudden Corey's waking me up, and she's like, hey, something's going on outside. I think the neighbor's barn's on fire. And literally I was so asleep that I thought we were at the cabin. I thought we were at the other property. I was totally out of it. And so I threw some shorts on, threw a sweatshirt on. We went outside, and the sky was like, it was absolutely bright orange. And there was popping and whistling, and you could hear like the fire crackling sound, but you could also hear things exploding. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Really couldn't tell what structure was on fire. And so we kind of poked around, we looked around a little bit, we wandered over that direction, and kind of figured out that it was our property owner's barn behind their house, or some structure behind their house. And so we went back inside. We didn't know how close we wanted to get to that, and we talked for a second. We're like, hey, we should probably go over, check on them. They have a bunch of animals. They have a bunch of I believe they're goats, maybe sheep, I don't remember, chickens, and all sorts of other stuff over there. And Corey's like, we should go see if it's their barn that's on fire, if they need help with their animals, or if we can help in any way. And so we got more clothes on. It was chilly yesterday evening, and wandered over there, and turns out it was like their carport behind their house, and then an attached shed, and it was like fully engulfed. The fire department was already there. The local volunteer fire department was already there. Some people standing around. We got talking with them, and holy shit, it was it went up. We were talking to the neighbor, yard art neighbor that's there. He actually caught it on his security cameras, kept going off, and so he ended up calling 911. A couple other people just randomly. Our neighbor that has a camper here next to us, where we park, she was coming home from work, and she saw it. She called 911, called another guy that local here that she knows. He was there, and we just got talking, and it sounds like it went pretty quick. The timeline people were talking about was like, we were over there about 1:45, I think, is when we got there. The first person that really called 911, it sounded like, was like at 10 after, a quarter after 12. Saw it on the security cameras and ran out there, and man, it was wild. Two vehicles, they got one vehicle moved, but two vehicles in there, two trucks, one that he recently got, a bunch of propane tanks, and other than that, he said it was just a bunch of junk that had been kind of in the carport for quite a while. No idea how it started. I mean, it was obviously right then, but kind of talking to the property owner, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, it's just a bunch of stuff that's been back in there forever, so we don't know. We don't know. Always suspicion, especially from the neighbor here with the yard art. He was kind of wondering if possibly was ignited, but who knows? Who knows? He might have a disgruntled view of the town for all the things that they've been through. Not picking sides in that story, but finally met him, and it was a nice guy to me. I have no problem with anybody around here. Nobody's really done anything to me to make me not like them. But yeah, that was we were up. Fuck, man, probably another hour, and after I laid down, I really couldn't fall asleep. But morning came early, so sorry if I'm a little out of it this morning. It wasn't anything that I had going on. I didn't stay up late. I didn't get up early, anything like that. It was woken out of the dead of sleep to deal with something like that. So I'll be interested to see what it looks like in the light. That truck was pretty crispy. The truck, we could see some of the stuff. Obviously, it was like a metal carport and then a metal shed behind it, and they were just tearing the metal off the side of the shed, the fire department, and a lot of the stuff was kind of in the steam smoke envelopment. But his truck, man, it was crispy, and it almost looked like, I don't know what was going on with the tailgate, but it almost looked like there was a hole melted right through the tailgate in one section. So I'll be interested to see it come today in the light. Good morning, Hunter. Good morning, Rewilder Life. Thanks for both stopping in. Appreciate you. But yeah, no animals were harmed. I asked him. It was one of the first things I said. Hey, were there any animals in there? Was that where your barn? And he said no, that was further out back. So everything was good there, and no injuries. So property damage, but no casualties, no injuries, and they do still have a place to live. But and they were able to get one of their vehicles away from the carport, and it didn't have their side by side. But man, they have a couple other outbuildings right there, and one was really close. And the neighbor that called 911 and was out there, they started wetting down the side of the one barn, and it's an old wooden barn. I've been in that one. That was when he helped me borrow or when he helped me change the pulley on our alternator that we swapped out here in the driveway. I was in that barn, and there's a lot of stuff in there, and a lot of stuff I think would have burned up really quick. So they probably saved that building by wetting it down with the hose, but he was saying that the hose didn't look like much once that carport was fully engulfed. So we'll see. Neighbor mentioned that when he called 911, it actually transferred him to the next county over. He said that was kind of frustrating. They had to delay in dispatching because they had to transfer him to the county that we actually live in. We are probably less than 5 miles away from the other county, so I don't know if the map routing, but literally across the street from his house is this county's fire department, one of the fire depots. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that happens. We'll see. We'll see how things shake out. I'm sure. I'll get an update at some point in passing. I'll talk to somebody that knows what went down. And yeah, excitement that I don't need. I just don't need to deal with that stuff. I'd rather not deal with any fire ever. It's just it's a bad situation, and I'm just thankful that they didn't lose their dwelling where they live and where they stay, and there were no injuries. So excitement around here. But anyway, let's get to that Bitcoin guessing game contest before we move on to the topics of today. Bitcoin price right now at 612. Oh, running a little late talking about this fire. 612 on 4/6/2026, 612 on April 6, 2026. We're looking at 69,659, $69,659 per Bitcoin. Let's look at what we got. My guess last week it stayed the same. It's still up there, and I'll probably roll with it again this week. I think I'm going to roll with it till it actually goes above that. But I'd guess 72,654. Scrambling in with a low guess, 63,500. Blueberry, Texas, 65,500. Palm Tree with a guess of 66,666. Eesh. John Palmer in with a very high guess again. John's just high all the time. 76,543. And the two that were the closest, let's see, Canadian Farmstead, 68,500. He was 1,159 off. And Chris Dixon, 70,322. He is the winner. That is less than 1,000 off. That's less than the Canadian Farmstead off. Chris Dixon, unless last week Chris Dixon picked his guess in Canadian dollars, he did not denote this week. So I don't know. Should we give him the win, assuming that he was picking in USD, or assume that he was also picking in Canadian dollars this week, because that's kind of what he would do, and Canadian Farmstead would be with the win? I don't know. What do you guys think? We'll give Chris Dixon the win. Let's give Chris Dixon the win at 70,322. Again, the Bitcoin price this morning on April 6, 2026 is $69,657. Scramblin says, happy to have lost. It's mooning. I don't know if it's mooning. Like I said, I'm still leaving my guess at 72,654, because since I guessed that, it hasn't touched that or gone over. It has been ping ponging quite a bit between right around the 70,000 mark and mid 60s. Got to be something going to happen soon, whether it be a final dip before the run up, or before a run up, or maybe it should just take off and go to the moon, like Scramblin says. Maybe it'll go to the moon just like Artemis 2 is going around the moon. But unlike Artemis, hopefully when it goes to the moon, it actually stays there or keeps going even higher. Anyway, if you want to get in on the Bitcoin guessing game and win absolutely nothing, but just get in it for the bragging rights and have a little fun, head on over to the Telegram chat at t.me/lots chat. That's t.me, the letter t.me /LOTSCHAT, t.me/lots chat. Join up the chat, and not only the Bitcoin guessing game, but we do have a lot of fun during the week talking about all sorts of different stuff, and sharing things about our lives, joking around, having fun, and just being ourselves. So check it out. Telegram group for the Lots Project over at t.me/lots chat. Scramblin says, except for Bitcoin, it will be the second time. It'll be the second time it mooned, or goes to the moon. Oh man, the space controversies. The online right now. I got the space mission here on the list for a little later. But man, the online chatter between the flat earthers and the moon deniers and on and on and on. The online trolls and chatter are just through the roof, and Yeah. We'll talk about it. First thing on the list, though, I want to do the typical cabin update. Last week I talked about the fact that Corey and I went and purchased the metal, got it ordered. Oh, Pip's, good morning, Pip. Pip says the Hollow Moon people as well. Correct. The Hollow Moon, I forgot. And so got the metal ordered. As of last week, I was supposed to be going to pick it up Thursday. So a few days ago, 5 days ago. Got a call on Wednesday afternoon when the metal was supposed to come in on the truck on Wednesday. He was going to give me a call, and instead of trying to rush over there on Wednesday, I was going to go on Thursday early in the morning so I could get some other stuff done during the day. I got home from the property and my messages loaded, voicemails loaded, and I had a message from the building supplier. And she said, she's like, hey, had a little mix up. The company sent the trim the same color as the metal. And we've talked to them. They know it was a mistake. They're they know it was a mistake, and they're going to get it fixed and get it out on the next order. So it was supposed to come in on Friday. I did not hear from them on Friday. I don't know if they just assumed that I told them that I probably wouldn't be able to be out there till Monday. Had some stuff lined up for the rest of the week. Didn't hear from them on Friday. Don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm going to give them a call here when they open this morning, and hopefully going to go pick up the metal today and get that started. So really a slow weekend on the cabin this weekend. Corey and I basically went out and laid out outlets and lights and light switches. I know that I've been messing around with that for since probably since we started doing the cabin, but we have readjusted the floor plan, one big adjustment, and then some other thoughts of things. And so I've really held off on thinking about it until now. And I'm running into a little bit of problem, nothing major, but with the way our walls are framed out, I don't want to have to be drilling holes for running wire through the posts. If you can picture the construction of the cabin, got 6x6 posts and then 2x6 walls framed out in between the posts. So if I wanted to run and so it's almost like cavities of wall framing in between the main posts of the structure. And if I wanted to go from cavity to cavity, I'd have to go through a 6x6 post plus 2x6s to run the wire. And I don't want to mess around with that. A lot of the places where the posts aren't necessarily 16-inch on center framing because of windows and other, just a bunch of other stuff in this kind of custom framing job. So I think it would be a real big pain in the ass. Plus the fact I don't want to be drilling holes in my major supports for the roof and the whole cabin. So I was thinking about it, kind of looked at it yesterday a little bit. I think I'm going to do a combination of running the electric under in the crawl space and then coming up into the cavities, and then again up in the top above the posts. So looking at that with Corey yesterday and kind of really cinching in where we want outlets, what kind of outlets, what kind of switches, where we want lights and things like that. I don't think it's going to be too bad of a job, of a wiring job, but got that laid out. Also this weekend, we got to spend some time with our friend Kerry Brown from Strong Roots Resources. He makes a trip or two out every year for consults on delinquent Scully. On the food forest, he's basically he designed and did the install on the food forest there. And while I maintain it, Carrie comes out and checks on things, makes suggestions, helps with questions I have. He did some tree pruning, fruit tree pruning this year, and also helped me identify some plants on the ground and firm up a strategy for my I guess my strategy for maintaining it right now. Um, have kind of gone back and forth with kind of blanket mulching, cardboard, and then I've been trying to get wood chips. We had a huge we had a huge ice storm, and all these limbs came down, and you would think that they would be chipping all this wood up, and there'd just be piles and piles and piles and piles of free wood chips everywhere. That's not how they're doing it. They're chunking it up big enough to throw it in a big truck and taking it and putting it in a big pile and burning it. No wood chips to be found. I've stopped when I've driven by the road crews cleaning them up. They have no chippers with them. They're basically chunking it up big enough that that a guy or two guys can pick it up, and it's getting tossed in the back of a truck. So for really since we've been here and been working on delinquent Scully, I've been looking for free wood chips. And it's just not available. So kind of switched gears this year and have been collecting leaf litter from the property and collecting deadfall mulch. Been messing around with that this year, and getting a pretty big stockpile. Carrie brought a bunch of cardboard, and we were kind of thinking about, like I said, the total sheet mulching. Everything except the trees and really the shrubs and bushes in the food forest. And we're working with about, I think we've determined it's about a fifth of an acre or a little bit more. But as I maintained it last year and going into this year, I've kind of changed my strategy. So I have a bunch of leaf litter down there. I got a bunch more raked up. That I got raked up before the green's going to grow up around it, and I won't be able to rake it too efficiently. I got other spots that I know I'll be able to gather more. But while Kerry was out here this year, or this spring, I guess he was out here last fall, less than a year ago. But we kind of walked food forest and identified a lot more plants. That's not my forte. Kerry's very good at it. Kerry does foraging walks on his farm, knows a ton of plants, does designs and installs all over. Way more plant knowledge than I have. And so when he's here, I really pick his brain and ask him, what's that? What's that? What's that? Do we want to keep that? Do we want to pull that? And I think I'm going to do a lot of targeted mulching, a lot of babying some plants that are coming in naturally, some stuff that we just threw out seeds, stuff that got planted that kind of died back, but still coming back now. There's a lot of stuff down there that I don't want to just choke out by laying down cardboard and just throwing out mulch or leaf litter or whatever. So it's going to be a little bit more tedious work this year again. But even just looking at it year to year so far, the constant pulling of the brambles, the blackberries, the canes, the tree starts, everything that's kind of popping up that we don't want, it's thinning out. So hopefully I can encourage the stuff that we do want and target the stuff I don't. Scrambling asks, fruit trees or nut trees? Rewilder Life says I can't get the chips either. Fruit trees and nut trees, yes. Well, fruit trees. We have varieties of apples, peaches, cherries, pears. I think we have a dozen maybe 13 or 14 trees. And then we're doing a few varieties of figs currently. We have blueberries, thornless blackberries, another berry. Can't, it's slipping my mind right now. Another berry, shrub. We have some other natural stuff that's coming in, and we've kind of fostered over the last a couple of years. We have mullein coming in. We have American beautyberry, purple passion flower vine, and then a bunch of herbs and wildflowers and such that we've spread in there. Might do a little bit experimenting with some clover this year and seeing about that for some ground cover. If we can kind of beat back the stuff that's there and seed in and promote the clover to come in, that could be a solution. But right now it's going to be, I think this season is going to be a lot of targeted mulching around the trees. Oh, and we have comfrey plants by all the fruit trees, and then a large patch kind of started for propagation and biomass. So that's where we're at with that. Scrambling asked about the hops. The hops is we looked for them. So the plan for the hops initially, Kerry grows hops with his brother out in Knoxville. And if you're in Knoxville or within a drive of Knoxville, or even just want to take a trip, you should check out Strong Roots Resources on Facebook, on their website, strongrootsresources.com. Kerry's got some classes coming up on his farm. One big class, some humane animal harvesting, following biblical principles. Kerry raises hair sheep on his property, is his main animal there, and he is bringing someone in to teach a class, and it should be phenomenal. Everything that goes on there at Kerry's farm is well put together, well thought out, and if he's bringing somebody in to do a class, it's definitely going to be worth the time. But he also does foraging walks at his farm. He does all sorts of other classes. So check out Strong Roots Resources if you're in the Knoxville area or you're within a decent drive. And even if you're not, you might want to check out that humane animal processing class. Even if you got to come into town, I heard he's got people coming in from Michigan to take the class already signed up, and it is limited seats. So if you're hearing this, you might want to go check it out if you even have an interest to see if there's a spot left. But the hops he brought out last year, we weren't ready. We were going to put them up. We have a big hill coming off the food forest on the sun side. And we were going to run an experimental line of hops on the hill. We were going to string a guy wire between two trees on either end of the hill and kind of grow them up and have pulleys to where we can drop the guy line when we want to harvest the hops, or train them in the beginning, run the lines, or in the fall when we wanted to harvest them, we could drop it and work at ground level. Over the winter, I started clearing the path between the two trees. I made the path where we're gonna grow them. But looking at the terrain, looking at the kind of there's a bunch of runoffs, the water runoffs down the hill, a ton of stumps, a ton of roots, even some chest height trees that were buried in the brambles. It looks like it would just be an utter pain in the ass to maintain and a lot of work because it is just completely overgrown with blackberries and things like that. So, wait. Mike's Homestead says, I offered to pay the $20. $20 for what? I don't know. I don't know what you're going to get for $20. But anyway, Carrie and I kind of looked at it this year. We have those hops started kind of down off to the side in the food forest. We're just going to let them go for now. Might try to figure out how to do this experiment somewhere else. But right now, we kind of both agreed that that once we got eyes on the terrain that we were going to be working with, and how much work really it would be to even maintain it, let alone work with it. It just isn't the right. Oh, I need a carry. Gotcha. Um, yeah, we just kind of decided to put a hold on that, and the hops are there. They're in the ground. They should come back. We kind of looked for them, didn't see them. So we'll see. So that's on hold right now, and really going to focus on dialing in the. Hey, you want to come over and say hi, House Tiger? Really dialing in the stuff down in the food forest. Um, at the moment for this year, and we'll see what the hops do. He told me what to look for, and he said they'll just run across the ground. I might throw some stakes up or kind of train them over onto a tree or something like that. I don't know. We'll find out. If nothing else, they're just going to grow out this year, and maybe we can work on them next year, since they're just establishing in the ground off to the side. What else? Carrie's visit. Yeah, just walked the property. Haven't really talked much about it, but Tim acquired the property next to the three that he already had. It kind of came. The cat is going nuts over there. It became available, and it just made sense. It's a really cool property. Has quite a bit of water running through it, and Carrie and I and Corey walked the new plot, quite a bit of it, down in the forest, and it wasn't logged. It wasn't logged like the three that we're dealing with right now. So when you walk into the forest, the edge is the same. The edge is thick of brambles and blackberries and thorns. But once you get past that edge, this forest is absolutely beautiful. It's old growth. The shed. Yeah. Pip says, wait, Tim got more acres. Yeah, he did. There is a shed on it. I'll talk about that in a second. The forest is just phenomenal. Carrie, when I walked through it before Tim bought it, when it was still available, or just became available, I walked it, kind of got eyes on it for Tim. And in the minute I walked into this woods, I knew we should pick it up. All overstory, and the ground is just like you can walk through there, no problem. There's no thorns, there's no nothing. The different varieties of plants on the floor of the forest was phenomenal. You walk and the ground is almost spongy because it's got so much accumulation of biomass and just composted down forest soil. The life there is great. Corey and Carrie found 2 boxes. I think Corey and Carrie each found one, maybe. But 2 box turtles. Carrie said he's never seen 2 that close together. But they were just kind of hanging out on the hill there. There's nice water running through it that I think is going to back up. We're going to be able to find a spring, a seep coming out at the end of that, which is kind of close to the border of the property line. So that would be really interesting and change our needs for rainwater catch. If we had an active spring that we were able to pump through, probably would still capture rainwater, but I don't think I would have to have as much, and I would be able to set up storage in a different place away from the gutters for the spring catch, which would be really cool. It's just a phenomenal property. And the other thing is it already has a power pole. The people that were there before had a power pole, they had a box, they had all that, and they had a shed, which is still there. I shouldn't say it's a shed. It's big. It's like, I don't know, I haven't measured it, but we were thinking like 16 by 32 or something like that, that they were finishing out to be a little cabin. it's in rough shape. To put it lightly. It's pretty trashed. One of the windows is broken. The foundation that they set it on is completely crooked. They used concrete blocks that they stacked up. They didn't do any ground prep or anything, so it's basically sitting at an angle. When you walk into it, you're like sideways, and just the inside is completely trashed. I think it could probably be salvaged, like Harry and I and Corey were talking when we were out there, probably be salvaged for animals, um, maybe nursery, plant starts, just something in undercover, maybe a hatchery, or even just like a chicken coop or something for animal housing. But right now, as is, I don't know if it's salvageable for human use. There's kind of holes cut in the floor. They were doing a DIY kind of build out, and it's in rough shape. It's in rough shape. Supposedly, the company that financed the shed, it was kind of one of those buy here, pay here, finance the shed kind of things. They said they're going to come and get it. I don't know how. First, I don't know how they're going to get it the fuck out of there. I don't know how they got it in there. I don't know how they're going to get it out of there. And it's been 3 weeks or a month since they said they were going to come and get it. And I don't know if they just said, fuck it. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze for them. A, for the fact that they would have to remove a gate to get it out. B, I don't know how they're going to get it out of where it's at. And the big factor is I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it. If I was a company, you're not going to be able to resell it. Basically, I think that if they repossessed it, they would just trash it. So we can probably figure out something to do with it. I know I could figure out something to do with it. But yeah, more property. Was able to salvage a bunch of rain barrels and gutters and PEX and all sorts of stuff from the property. It was kind of picked over and salvaged prior. The developer had paid somebody to come in and kind of clean up the property before he listed it for sale. Kind of wish they didn't, and I was able to salvage all the stuff when Tim picked it up. But he didn't know that he didn't know who was going to buy it. So yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and we might be able to. Corey and I have kind of been looking at it, and we're still not 100% sure. But once we get the power put back on out there, so the power currently is just a meter with the socket pulled. No service panel that was removed by the clean crew. So we need to put in a service panel and an RV plug, which is not a huge deal. But the bigger issue is turning our camper around and getting it positioned back there. It's really tight. There isn't a whole lot of room. We have a couple ideas of how we'd be able to do it, but we're not even sure if it'd work. But if we got it back there and we couldn't turn it around, we could always pull it in forward and figure out how to get it turned around when we need to get it out of there. But we might be able to move out to the property before the cabin is done, which would just change the scope of everything, being able to work on the cabin whenever we wanted, and not have to worry about driving a half an hour to get there and a half an hour back to the camper. So that is kind of in the works. I haven't really talked much about it because it wasn't really for sure for a while there. And but now it seems to be a done deal. And we're thinking about trying to figure out how to get out there. So that is that. That's exciting. Yeah, that's kind of the update. It was a really slow week, but it really wasn't. I always enjoy Carrie coming out. I always learn an absolute ton when he's here, and walking through that new property with him, and then the food forest. He gave the trees a good haircut, and we identified a lot of stuff that we want to propagate out. Some elderberries that I think really going back. So originally, when we decided to put the some food forest down there, Mike's Homestead, who's in the chat, the first work day we ever had out at Delinquent Scully, when it was just basically one trail. There was one trail up to a little tiny cabin, and we were kind of expanding out. Mike's Homestead did yeoman's work, and so did Palm Tree and Herschel. They worked on cutting a trail. Mike's Homestead used a weed eater and weeded his way down to this big tree, which is currently the kind of the edge of the food forest. And I cleared a small little area. Right now, I just kind of chuckle about it because it was tiny, and kind of started propagating some stuff in there. And once we really got on site and evaluated what we wanted to do with the food forest, it expanded greatly. It's probably at least 10 times bigger than what I had originally cleared out and was going to start propagating some plants. So that stuff kind of got lost in the shuffle of taking out trees and doing the work and doing the planning and the install of the food forest. But when Carrie and I were walking around yesterday or this weekend, found a bunch of stuff that I started and looking at it and trying to remember where this little spot was in this huge area now that is cleared. I think that's right where I started it, but started some yarrow, which is absolutely blowing up all over the place in that general area. Started several elderberry cuttings, which never really did anything, but now there's decent size elderberry bushes, which this year, since they're already the size they are, they should really kind of really fill in and blow up, which will be trained bushes for propagation and cuttings. So that was really cool to find that stuff that I started. God, it was probably 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. 3 years. And just forgot about, and moved on to the bigger opening, are now kind of filling in, and they're identifiable, and then they're kind of taking hold, which is fantastic because we love the yarrow in there and the elderberries. Yeah, that's solid too. So it'll be an interesting year. One thing that's going to make the year easier. This past week, I talked to Tim, and we'd been using like residential weed eaters that you'd go pick up, like the little Honda one, or I don't even know what brand they were, but just the weed eater you'd use to trim up after you mowed your lawn. But I was using it to basically maintain trails in the forest, knock down overgrown stuff. And I think since we've been out there maintaining stuff, I burned through maybe three of them. Just hard. It's hard on these weed eaters, and they're not built for it. They're built for trimming around the pool and trimming around the fence line and things like that. And this winter we talked about it. I said, well, let's stop dumping money into these residentials and look at maybe the steel commercial line. And he completely agreed. He the buy once, cry once. And so over the winter, we determined that we were going to go with the steel FS91. Jamie out off grid ping out at the property there. He has one, and when the residential ones would shit the bed, I'd burn them up or they wouldn't work. I would borrow Jamie's of the same model, the FS91 steel, and it was night and day. The thing is a solid piece of machinery. There are bigger ones, there are more powerful ones. I think this is the right size for what we're doing. We're not a lawn care company, we're not anything like that, but it's got the size and the power and the build. It's solid enough to last. And so we decided we were going to get one. Tim was going to order it and have it sent out. You can't buy steel online. You can't. You have to buy them from a dealer. And so turned out I had to go up to the Ace Hardware here close to the property and pick one up. And I went up there last week. I think it was maybe Wednesday. Went up there and it was fantastic. I was saying in the group, it was probably one of the most pleasant shopping experiences I've had in a long time. I'm big on customer service. I was kind of in hospitality for quite a while. I think there's a way you treat customers. There's a way you pay attention to them. There's a way you give a shit to make their experience a little bit better, and it makes a difference. The customer service I got at the Ace in Parsons, Tennessee, if you're ever looking for an Ace to go to, was phenomenal. From the steel representative that helped me do the warranty work, explain everything, walk me through how the warranty works, told me about their loaner program, and also the stuff that they rent there, which was a bonus that I know I can get a Ditch Witch there at a stupid cheap price for a day. Just walking through everything, to the girl at the checkout counter, to the other employees that were there, were just absolutely phenomenal. They A+ job. Like, I was smiling when I walked out of it. It doesn't happen at stores often, especially like going to Walmart is just a disaster because nobody gives a shit, the employees. And even to the fact that the customers in Ace, and I think this is probably an extrapolation of the employees giving a shit and enjoying. I think it shows that they enjoy their job. They want to be there. The customers were in a good mood too. There weren't any stupid fucking customers annoying you and aggravating you. They were all in a good mood. Everybody was interacting with each other, happy, joking around. And I think that was kind of a continuation of the way the employees and the attitudes they put off. So I was very, very happy. I'm glad to give them my business, to go back and get the equipment serviced if I'm going to buy any more equipment there, and just do my general hardware store shopping there. It's close enough. It's 10 miles from the property or so, maybe a little bit more, but yeah, rare anymore. Rare to have that experience and to actually enjoy going out and shopping and visiting a business at this point. So bravo, Ace in Parsons, Tennessee. I think they're all franchised. I think they have a parent company and a philosophy, but I think they all are. I think they're all franchised. I could be wrong, but they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job, and I hope they keep it up because I'll be back for sure. But got the new weapon there for taking care of the weeds, and it's probably a good thing we picked it up last week because we got quite a rainstorm on Saturday night while Carrie was here. Started in early afternoon, rained quite a bit overnight, and literally when we went out Sunday, it was greener. Everything is kind of going to blow up, and the weather this week is looking pretty sunny and warm, and I think everything is going to just take off. So if I hadn't got that, I'd be way behind by the time I got there to get a new weed eater. So probably going to be able to run that, put some hours on that this week, and get started for the year of with trail maintenance and stuff, and hopefully some expansion and some projects that I hopefully will be talking about a little later this year as I develop them. So so that's kind of the property update. That's big big news. Big news. Expansion, like Pip says, expansion, or Scramble said, bam, the empire grows. Yeah, there's a lot of ideas that we're kicking around, and some big things that might come up in the future, or we might just maintain it and keep it as is. We will see how the future goes. But once if we can get out there in the camper, that is definitely a game changer for both the maintenance of the property, the things that we can do on the property, and also personally our build with the cabin and things that we can do that we're going to do for us long term. So both the overall picture of the Tim's property and what he's got going on and what I'm working for him and our stuff completely changes if we can get out there full time. So looking forward to that and figuring it out and making that move. So what else I got on the list? Oh, we're going to the moon, guys. We're not really going to the moon this time. If you followed the news at all, the Artemis 2 mission took off last week, and I think it went around the moon yesterday, maybe. Launched on April 1st, on April Fool's Day. So that was a lot, a lot of fodder. The no moon landing groups, the flat Earth groups, the yeah, all the offshoots of space of the space program, deniers, questioners, and whatnot have kind of come out of the woodwork with this mission to the moon or around the moon. Excuse me, I keep saying to the moon. I guess they're going past the moon and around the moon and bringing it back. This is basically a test run for the next trip. I think it's the next trip or the one after that they will be landing on the moon and then starting to hopefully, their words, not mine, be landing and constructing bases or base of operations there. I haven't really looked much into it. I did quickly look into what's kind of going on between NASA and SpaceX. Basically, there's two different entities working on the same thing, working on rockets to get to the moon and back, space vehicles. And I think from what I can tell, it's in the end, it's going to become a combination of both, that maybe the propulsion of one and the equipment of the other. It's I've really lost interest in the space program after the Challenger exploded. Just gonna lay that out there. I was in second grade when the Challenger blew up, and it kind of damaged my love for the space program. PTSD, I guess, would be a better term. Sitting there, I was very, very involved in the space program in that time, as a second grade boy, and all the shuttle missions going on. It was really cool. And then to watch the whole thing literally blow up on TV sitting in class, I kind of moved on to other interests. But anyway, I'm not sure what's going on. There's several options that I've seen out there for the purpose, the end goal of all of this. I think Scramblin mentioned in the Telegram group helium-3, the presence of helium-3 on the moon and the possibility of mining that. Looking at that, it may or may not be the end goal. Rewilder Life says, I knew a guy who was stranded on the Russian space station. Yeah, space is kind of a crazy place, and the stuff going on. I don't know. I don't know. But it's been a long time since they've been messing around, and so other options for the purpose of this is eventually going to Mars, I believe, and further exploration. I don't know. Are we doing this because this world, our planet, is going to become really, really inhabitable? Are we going to need to move to another planet? Do we need to expand? Are we focusing on resources? Rewilder Life says I bet scramble, and it's right. The helium-3, but I think there's a lot of other things that they're targeting in space. I don't know. I don't know. But one thing I do know is the cost, and I'm not sure. I'm trying to think, is the juice worth the squeeze on this? Really, taxpayer funded the Artemis program, or this whole program. I guess it started with Orion, and now it's Artemis, and it's going to go on from there. We're into the tune of over $100 billion at the moment. I think this launch itself, this little mission, the launch is about $4 billion. No way we could use that for anything else. Beyond that, we got this war going on over in Iran that's to the tune of $1 billion a day. And I don't know. I don't know. We're servicing the debt of this country at $1 trillion a year. $1 trillion a year. And we're spending $1 billion a day bombing Iran. We're spending $4 billion shooting ourselves around the moon, when supposedly the last time we did it was in the 60s, the early 70s. But nothing since. I don't know. I don't know if the funds could be used somewhere else. I don't know. I didn't vote for either thing. I didn't allocate. Well, I didn't vote for anything really. But I didn't want any of my tax dollars allocated to this. I'd rather have it in my pocket. But for the greater good, Rewilder Life says all I want is no property taxes. Right? I just don't want any taxes at all. Scramble says the youngest got engaged on his Vegas trip this weekend. She's 100% a win. Good. Congratulations. Your family's really filling out there from the chatter in the Telegram group, and congratulations on that. That's exciting. Pip says, how much was the Learning Center fraud total? Yeah, I mean, even that, all of it. I think it's just all complete bullshit. What comes of it? I was doing some sleuthing last night on the debt, the debt payment, on the interest on the debt that we have. What happens in the end? So I'm talking in the end. So I'm pushing 50 years old. So let's say in the next 50 years, not be lucky to make it to 100. I really be lucky to make it to 100 for sure. So say 50 years. What happens in the next 50 years? At this point, we're at $1 trillion of interest to keep current with the debt load, and the debt isn't slowing down. So that's only going to increase. We have a wave of AI coming in that's going to kind of just really smack the job market, which in turn lowers income tax. Excuse me, I got hiccups. They're spending like a new war, spending money like crazy. They're going to be printing money like crazy, which devalues the dollar. Inflation comes up, and what happens in the next 50 years? I don't know. I don't know what happens. I'm curious. If anybody does know, let me know. Come on over to the Telegram group and tell us all what's going to happen in the next 50 years at t.me/lots chat. Pip says, hell, I'd like a house that's not 4x the real price. Meanwhile, the U.S. still gives millions to the Taliban. That's the same thing. Like, why are we giving money to other countries? So I don't know. I went down the rabbit hole last night. I didn't end up with a coherent thought to talk about it. And then I was going to do a little bit more this morning and got interrupted in the middle of the night with a fire next door. So it's it's tabled. I might talk about it next week. I might just get sick to my stomach when researching it and not be able to do it. Wilder Life says I can lower my income taxes pretty easily. Property, you have no control. Correct. And property is a made up value that they're taxing you on. That they're just, well, you could sell your house for this, maybe. So we're going to value that on. We're going to value your tax rate on this made up value for a thing that you own that you don't plan on selling, that you might sell in the future. Yeah, property tax is another fucking boondoggle. Consumption tax is really consumption tax is really the way that it should be, where you can choose the tax you pay by buying or not buying things, and not just get taxed for being productive or owning a piece of property, or I guess renting a piece of property when it comes down to it. So that would be, if we had to have any tax, a consumption tax would be ideal, or even a flat tax on income is understandable, because I do concede that the government entities need a budget to run. They need a budget to operate, even though they operate so inefficiently. It's never going away. A flat tax, at least you know where you stand, and everybody pays their fair share. Everybody wants to talk about people paying their fair share. The only way that actually happens is if we all pay a flat tax on every dollar coming in. So I don't want to talk about that anymore. And we're at an hour. So maybe next week, maybe not. Like I said, if you want to head on over to t.me/lots chat to continue the conversation, or just hang out with a bunch of great people and have some fun conversations over there, laugh a little bit, get angry, just have some fun. And you can also participate in the Bitcoin price guessing game for next week. That will be April. Let's see if I can get my computer to work. That'll be April 13th, 2026 will be the next guess, the next show, next Monday. Head on over there, look for the pinned message and click on it, and just reply with your guess for the price next Monday morning, right around 6 o'clock. My guess, I'm going to roll with $72,654 until it actually hits it. So that's my guess for next week. What is yours? We'll see you over in the Telegram group. Other than that, it should be a busy week for us. I got a bunch of stuff to do, a bunch of stuff to get caught up with, and all sorts of work to do out at the property. So I'm going to get out of here, hopefully go pick up my metal and meet Spray Foam Guy to get a consultation and talk about different options with getting spray foam done on the cabin when we get to that point. So hope you have an awesome week. Hope it's as productive as it needs to be, or you want it to be. You get everything done in your to-do list. Other than that, head on over to the Telegram group, and we will talk to you next Monday.